sitting here with Miss Page, the science elective teacher at Fowler Drive Elementary. So how long have you been teaching science?
Well, I've been teaching at Fowler Drive for 25 years, elementary schools, which of course includes science. And I taught in the Spectrum program, which is our gifted program, and did a lot of science and social studies with that. And this is my 4th year doing a specialist.
Oh, wow.
So,
Do you like which one do you prefer?
I love doing this because I love science. The
You can
kids
tell
love,
from the classroom.
and the kids love science. And so I like being able to do things that I know the kids enjoy doing and not having to make them do something that they don't really want to do. So, although, one thing about elementary school students is they love learning.
They're more
And
energetic
they
and willing to learn.
Exactly. So, that's, I guess, why I've been here for 25 years.
It shows.
So,
What does your science curriculum look like from a day-to-day perspective?
well, I try to teach the standards and support the standards that the teachers are teaching in the classroom. But I have to try to vary it so that I'm not repeating, reinforcing and giving some hands-on activities to help them remember what they're learning. And so I use a lot of things like AIMS, and I have AIMS activities. Do you know what those are?
I do not.
Okay. It's math and science. It's a curriculum for math and science with hands-on activities. And
It's important.
yeah, to integrate the two. I also have some books that integrate literature with science. So you read and you write and you do science.
That's what we're learning a lot about in our classes is how
Yeah.
to integrate different subjects.
It's so
together.
easy to integrate science into all the other curriculum.
I'll have to keep that in
But,
mind.
yeah,
So in your classroom, how much time is spent indoors versus outdoors?
well, depending on the weather.
This weather this year has been up and down.
During this fall and the spring, I spend a lot more time outdoors. That was one thing that with this new building, we wanted outdoor classrooms. So that's why we have these 2 areas that are not recess areas, but outdoor classroom areas where kids can get out, they can garden, and like this past fall, we had great radish pace.
I remember, I was
Were you
here.
there?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
And so every grade level planted radishes. And part of my reasoning for that is because I want the classroom teachers to get them outside too. And a lot of them get outside for lunch or just, but I want them learning outside too.
I think that's
So
important.
I think it's really important for kids to know how a plant grows, what happens when you put a seed in the ground, what you have to do to make it grow, and that sometimes you can eat it, where our food comes from. So, and I discovered that even with the older children, that
That was my next question, is what was your opinion about nature with older
when
children?
even the older children, when they pulled up the radish and saw it was growing under the ground, many of them were surprised. So, another thing is that our 4th grade goes to Rock Eagle,
Okay.
and our 5th grade goes to Jekyll. And so we had started that several years ago because I believe it's really important, really important. I think the future of our world depends on
These children.
these children, yeah. And when I see the amount of energy we waste, the amount of materials and resources that are wasted, and if we're not careful, something's drastic is going to happen.
You don't need that.
And so we don't need that, yeah. So I try to get the kids outdoors as much as possible. Whether it's, gardening or just looking at plants.
I like to observe,
Looking
I
at
see.
insects, they love. And I've done this for years. We used to go on mini monster hunts and give them a bug box. And it got to where, when I was teaching 3rd grade, that was my children's favorite activity at recess. Because I had butterfly nets and bug boxes.
I remember doing that when I was this
Yeah.
child.
Yeah. So,
Well, do you personally believe environment earth-based education is best for children?
That's why we have a green school, which means every classroom is supposed to be recycling. I have a green team, which are 20 kids, 4th and 5th graders, that empty recycling bins, and they collect recycling at breakfast. And
I've seen the extra trash can over there.
Yep. I have an after-school science club, which is actually the Garden Earth Naturalist Science Club, which is sponsored the Botanical Gardens, has a curriculum.
We went there last year for a field trip.
We started out using that, and I still use it. In fact, I use a lot of the activities even in, my lessons. And but sometimes we mix in a little bit of physics and chemistry too. So, and then I have a Junior Master Gardeners Club.
Wow, so you have a lot of ways for
So
children to get
we
involved.
have, right now we're doing science field projects. So,
I've seen some of the work that students have done, and they get really creative.
they love doing it. My cluster that I'm doing for our school-wide enrichment program is trash to treasure. So the kids, we went out and actually collected some trash and trying to figure out what exactly can be recycled and what can't be and what we need to do about that.
I think it's really important to build that knowledge for children to understand, because they may not learn that at home. So it's important.
And sometimes it helps when they go home and tell their parents too. So,
Maybe they'll start catching on.
yeah.
So over the span of teaching that you've had, have you noticed a change in the way that children view nature?
I don't know, because I have always felt like the kids were interested to begin with.
I think it's when they get
And-
older is when they start to
Yeah,
lose that spark.
And it's amazing how, I'm trying to think of something that's happened recently, but I can't. But like you'll start out with like an animal or something that they're afraid of or they don't want to touch. And after a while, they'll, almost every student will, when they go to Jekyll, they don't want to dissect a fish. At the end, every one of those that didn't want to do it are right in there, trying to see. Yeah, as soon as they see how interesting it is and what they're learning, they get right in. So
So I think when you can
I think it's the exposure, everybody's afraid of things that they've never been around and new situations. And so the more we can introduce them to the outdoors, then the more they're going to be comfortable in learning in it.
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I enjoyed learning more about nature and
Well, thank you.
science.
Yeah.